So it's time for the second round then of this new ZEO Prototype Cup for sports prototype racing, and it'll be a rolling start, so we'll be quickly into this race. So I think we can have a look through the grid for it. So they head round on their green flag lap ahead of their rolling start, 2x2 grid. And on the front row be Duncan Williams and Matt Manderson. On row 2, Mike Gemvey and Graham Charman. Row 3, we'll see Alistair Smart alongside Chris Child. On row 4, Richard Hardy and Norman Lackford. Row 5 sees Andy Chittenden and Dominic Langdon down. On row 6, Robert Gilman and Lee Collar. Row 7 for Simon Freeman and Richard Chamberlain. And then on row 8 will be Jay Shepherd. I think the two cars there at the back, Freeman and Chamberlain, both switching now. So it'll be Tony Freeman in for Simon and Matthew Chamberlain in for Richard. So a couple of driver changes there for shared cars. We'll see if Edward Worthington has a go in the MP over from Jay Shepherd. That's yet to be seen. But anyway, the race is soon about to get underway. This is going to be a 20-minute race in better conditions than earlier. I presume we'll still all be on wet racing tyres. That may not particularly like these conditions, I'd think, in these high downforce cars. You've got the Norma LMP3 car on pole position then of Duncan Williams alongside the twin bike engined Radical SR8 of Matt Manderson. On row 2, Mike Gemvey in the self-developed gun, and then alongside him is Graham Charman in the Juno. So some great different manufacturers here in this new ZEO Prototype Cup. And look, it's damp on the inside line, so Duncan Williams from pole has a much damper line to get away from than on the outside for Matt Manderson. So the lights go out, 20 minutes of racing gets underway, and is that drier line going to help Manderson? Not quite sure, because it looked like Duncan Williams made a better start that time and was on the inside line into Cops Corner. Will it be him that heads into Beckett's and in the lead? It is. So Norman's got him, and second is Mike Gemvey. So it didn't actually work at all well for Manderson. Where is he? So Matt Manderson, the winner from earlier, is way down the order. Now, is this a tyre difference, I wonder? Have some cars gone for slicks, and that's why Matt Manderson is slow at the start here? We'll have to see how the race develops. It'll become pretty obvious, I think, if we have got choice of slick tyres. But Matt Manderson is losing a whole host of positions at the start here, which certainly suggests that might be the case. Because we've got yellow flags out here at because we've got a spin. That's car number 7 that's gone round. It's Tony Freeman, who started at the back in the Radical SR10, who's rotated. But I thought there were yellow flags further around the corner, so whether somebody didn't get away well, and that's called. No, it's the leader. I think the leader's gone off out of shot, so the Norma's had a spin of Duncan Williams. I'm not sure we'll be able to pick up where he got to, but across the line, Mike Gemvey led. In second position, Graham Charman, although Williams did have this transponder issue, but he's not there, is he? So it appears we've lost the Norma. So a very different look to the front of this race. Mike Gemvey leads, and in second place, Graham Charman. Third is Alistair Smart. Fourth is Chris Child, and 5th is Richard Hardy. And to the pit lane comes Duncan Williams. So whatever the problem there was for the Norma driver, he's pitted. He's going to be out the race, it would appear. So there's a second place man, that's Graham Charman, who's out there in that Juno. Here's Alistair Smart. He's had a good start to this race. He's third in the Radical PR6. Matt Manderson dropped to 8th, but my bet is he's on slick racing tyres, which should improve once he gets them up to temperature. But how much time is that going to take? It's a cold day here at Silverstone. It may be the British summertime, but it's pretty chilly indeed, where it was super hot in the week. In the battle here for 4th position, a change because Richard Hardy's got himself ahead of Chris Child. Up to 6th from the back of the grid comes Matt Chamberlain. Where's our race 1 winner? Well, Matt Manderson still losing time. Look at that car, though. Great looking machine. A self-developed car by the Chamberlains, a CTR01 that runs a 2-litre engine. Matthew Chamberlain driving it in this one. He's currently in 6th. Mike Gemvey leading. He's done a fastest lap of 58.980. He's 6 seconds ahead now of Graham Charman. Alistair Smart in 3rd, a further 4 seconds back. Then there's a 6-second gap to Richard Hardy and Chris Child. Then a big gap of 5 seconds to Matt Chamberlain, who's got Andy Chittenden in the MCR Sports 2000. You can see there chasing him. And then Norman Lackford going well in 8th. Dominic Langdon down 9th, and down to 10th has gone Matt Manderson on what I'm presuming here are slick tyres. One of the quickest cars in the race is the car that spun on lap 1. Tony Freeman in 11th has done a 62, which is quicker than pretty much everybody bar the lead-in two. The fastest lap, Mike Genvy, 58.439. So we're lapping up similar times to earlier, but this is going to really change as the race goes on, as conditions alter. There's that car that's progressing, car number 7. So that's Tony Freeman in the Radical SR10, just passing there Dominic Landon down for 9th. So Tony Freeman, that SR10, the Ford EcoBoost powered Radical, one of the very few Radicals that hasn't got a bike engine in it. 2.3 litre. There's 46 then. So that's the Radical SR4, one of the early cars. That's Chris Child that turns his way out of Beckett's. He's currently in 5th place. This category runs to a class system, mainly based on engine size. There's the SR4 then turning its way down towards Brooklands Corner, going after Richard Hardy. Mike Genvy's completed 4 laps. He's 12 seconds now clear of Graham Charman and pulling away. He's the only driver who's gone under a minute so far in this race. Alistair Smart is 3rd, the best of the bike engine cars. 4th is Richard Hardy, 5th is Chris Child, there's 6th, that's Matt Chamberlain. 7th is the MCR of Andy Chittenden here, the Sports 2000 car that runs there with the Duratec engine. But look how much quicker in a straight line the Radical SR10 is, and Tony Freeman accelerates his way ahead of Andy Chittenden, who has raced Radicals in the past. Freeman therefore is up to 7th now, and he should really progress up more places yet. He'll be chasing after Matt Chamberlain, who's in that low-winged CTR for the CTR development team. There's 48. That's Andy Chittenden. Here's Chris Child, he's 5th. He's catching back up to Hardy. There you can see the Juno making its way down towards Copse and going off that dry line onto the wet surface to try and cool his tyres. There's Alistair Smart, he's in 3rd. Long-time racer of that Radical PR6. Then in 4th, the battle between the 2 different Radicals, Richard Hardy's SR3. And then in 5th position behind him was Chris Child. They're both being caught rapidly by Tony Freeman, who's already passed Matthew Chamberlain. There he is, car 7. Tony Freeman should catch those 2 bike engine Radicals shortly. There's Chamberlain, he's down to 7th now. He's got 3 seconds of a gap to Chittenden. Matt Manderson's pace is not improving, so I don't think the slick tyres are coming in yet. It's too damp for that. He's in 11th, he's been lapped already, and he's lapping 10 seconds slower than Mike Genvy. So there goes Matthew Chamberlain, who's being caught now by Tony Freeman. He was 6 seconds ahead at the beginning of the lap. Oh, sorry, no, he's been passed by Tony Freeman, I should say, isn't he? It's Child that's got the 6 second gap, but here's the battle for 7th, or 8th even. That's Andy Chittenden versus Norman Lackford, who turn their way through Brooklands Corner, the MCR Sports 2000 and the Radical PR6 that Norman Lackford's driven for quite a few number of years now. He's in the RJ Motorsport car. That's that team running a lot of cars here, with Josh Smith, multiple OSS champion in the past, helping to run those cars. So here's the battle for 7th, down towards Copse. Chittenden has Lackford to the inside of him. They're both about to be lapped by the leader, which is Mike Genvy. So 35, the gun, turns its way through Copse Corner. Mike Genvy, who won a lot of the OSS races which were organised by the BRSDC in the past, he leads them by a long, long way over Graham Charman, nearly 20 seconds now. So Mike Genvy absolutely flying in these conditions. He got the right tyre choice, and whatever happened to Duncan Williams put him out of contention. So Genvy about to lap this battle for 7th, then he dives down the inside for 8th, I should say, gets Lackford, who's 9th, and then he draws alongside Andy Chittenden and drives around the outside of him into Luffield. So that didn't take long, unsurprisingly, for Mike Genvy then, as he turns his way out of Luffield Corner and accelerates his way through Woodcote to complete another lap. This is lap 8 completed in the Gun TS6, still having to use, of course, the damper part of the circuit to try and keep his tyres cool. His lap times are going off as the tyres overheat. There, a change because Tony Freeman has passed both Richard Hardy and Colin Child to go fourth. That will be one more place I think Freeman can get. He should catch Alistair Smart, who's 8 seconds ahead. There's the leader though, Mike Genvie, out of Beckett's corner for the 9th time. He's 20 seconds ahead of Graham Charman still. There's the battle for 8th, Chittenden and Lackford. Let's have a look at this leading car then. Lots of modifications, of course, have been made since the gun was built by the Genvie team. Former Formula V champion, Mike Genvie, a couple of decades ago, but been racing sports 2000 since then. And then most recently, this gun that they've developed. And across the line he comes. He's got Matthew Chamberlain to lap next, the 7th place car. He's just done a 59.3 then, so about a second away from the fastest lap. And he will accelerate past the Chamberlain car with no real difficulty. So he's lapped now everyone up to 6th. The next cars will be that battle between Richard Hardy and Chris Child. See, trying to go into wet parts of the track, and a bit of spray he finds to try and cool those wet racing tyres because they'll be overheating on this circuit now. Team slick tyres don't really work, but wet tyres aren't ideal either. So he turns his way through Luffield as the leader on this, the 10th lap of the race. He's 22 seconds ahead of Graham Charman, who in turn is 24 seconds ahead of Alistair Smart, who is being caught all the time by Tony Freeman, who's in 4th. 5 seconds further back, and Richard Hardy and Chris Child, the last 2 cars on the lead lap. So here's Genvie through Copse. 13 cars still running out there. Looks like it's Jay Shepherd again, by the way, in the MPO1. Here's a battle for 5th, Richard Hardy v Chris Child. They're about to be lapped by Genvie, so that's the Radical SR3 of Hardy, who's got Chris Child's SR4 behind him. Mike Genvie will drive past him, I think, in a straight line, or certainly he'll get Child into Brooklands without any kind of problem. He's 24 seconds now clear of Graham Charman. He's still the only driver to go sub-minute in this race, and he's doing it on most occasions in this drying circuit. It's a 20-minute race. There's 9 minutes to go, so we're into the second half of it now. So there's the battle for 5th and 6th through. That's Hardy and Child. There's 7th placed Matt Chamberlain, who's in this CTR. I don't think a car that's been seen out for a little while, so great to see the Chamberlains. Richard out earlier, Matthew now in it. Here's the 2nd place car. This is Graham Charman, who's in the Juno, the 2006 car, which makes its way into Copse Corner. I think a 2-litre car this is. And he heads off down towards Beckett's, where there's a battle emerging in front for 8th position between Andy Chittenden and Norman Lackford, who are battling over 8th and 9th. They're about to be lapped by this Juno of Charman, who's 25 seconds behind the leader now. So there's Chittenden and Lackford battling over 8th and 9th. They get some blue flags because the 2nd place car is about to pass them. Charman is 31 seconds ahead of Alistair Smart, who's now been caught by Tony Freeman, so there should be just change for 3rd on this lap. I don't think it'll take too long for Tony Freeman to pass Alistair Smart for that position. As Lackford gets lapped there by Charman, he's fallen away therefore from Andy Chittenden. So they blast across the line. 11 laps done for Chittenden and Lackford, 12 laps done for Charman, who's just done a personal best on that lap, a 61.024. So he heads into Maggots and Beckett's. So Chittenden and Lackford there, 8th and 9th, turn their way out of Beckett's. There's Matt Manderson, he's in 11th, not going very much quicker. There's Tony Freeman, who's got himself ahead of Alistair Smart and has immediately pulled away from him. So Tony Freeman up to 3rd now, and he's pulled 2.5 seconds out from Alistair Smart. So Tony Freeman has fought his way back through after that spin on lap 1 at Brooklands. So Freeman 33 seconds behind Charman. I don't think again any more positions. There's the battle for 5th and 6th, Richard Hardy and Chris Child. They head their way out of Beckett's corner. See the spray being kicked up right on the edge of the circuit. There's Genvy, the leader. He's about to lap Tony Freeman, who just passed Alistair Smart then. So the SR10 Radical into 3rd, and Mike Genvy, he's going to lap him. So he's lapped everybody now bar the Juno of Charman. They blast across the line. I think the Radical might be slightly quicker in a straight line, so Genvy just about is able to stay ahead as he turns through Copse. Battle continues, I think, between Richard Hardy and Colin Child, although that's actually extended a bit, but they're both being caught by Matthew Chamberlain. So 5th, 6th and 7th are fairly close together. 8th is Andy Chittenden, just ahead of Norman Lackford. 10th is Dominic Langdon down. 11th is Matt Manderson, still not finding any pace. 12th is Jay Shepherd. And 13th, good to see out there, the ADR of Lee Collar. Here's the leader though, Mike Genvy, in the gun, with 5 minutes to go of this race. He's about to complete lap 15. I'm sure he's struggling now on these wet tyres, because they'll be overheating, the blocks will be moving around and not be giving him the grip that he'd hoped for. They're much better in full wet conditions. And he turns his way into Copse for the 16th time. There's a 2nd place car. That is Graham Charman, the Juno. He turns his way into Luffield. He's about to lap the Jay Shepherd NP01 Evo, the T7 Motorsport Run car backed by Wasp. But this is the Juno that we're watching through Woodcote. He's going to pass the Mazda engined car easily down into Copse Corner. He's 28 seconds behind Mike Genvy now. He's just on a personal best there, a 60.9, which should keep him well clear of Tony Freeman's Radical. Norman Lackford's gained a place on this lap. He's got himself ahead of Andy Chittenden for 8th. They will come across the line just a 1/10 of a second apart. So Norman Lackford up to 8th position, Andy Chittenden down to 9th. Decent race this from Lackford, who's been in club motorsport for such a long time, so experienced. So there's Matt Manderson in the background. Remember, he's presumably on slicks, really struggling. But there's Chamberlain. Now, is he catching those 2 Radicals in front of him? He's only 2 seconds behind. But a better lap there by Chris Child, actually, a 63.57. Sorry, for Hardy, and then a 63.24 for Child. He's the quickest of those 3 cars. Chamberlain a 63.72 on that lap, but he has gone quicker. They're shortly going to be lapped by the 2nd place car. There's Matt Manderson, who's having an absolute nightmare on what we assume are wrong tyres. He's just not going any quicker. He's just not able to get any heat into the tyres. So he heads off down to Brooklands, being lapped by Graham Charman, who's the 2nd place car on his 17th lap with just a few minutes to go now. This race is going to be either 20 or 21 laps, something like that. And he turns his way out of Luffield then for another time. He's 35 seconds ahead of Tony Freeman. And he completes the lap. That was a 61.05. He's by far the quickest cars racing this weekend, lapping quicker in the damp or the wet than other categories were in the dry. New category for this year, the ZEO Proto Cup, bringing sports prototype racing back to the BRSCC. 6 classes are eligible. The top class for over 2 litre cars, Class B for cars up to 2 litres, Class C for cars up to 1400cc, Class D for cars up to 1 litre, Class E for standard Radical SR3s, and Class F for CN type cars. And here's the leader, Mike Genvy. He's a Class B car with his 2 litre Duratec powered gun. And the last lap in the 60s, so his lap time's going out as he nurses his tyres home. There's the ADR, we haven't seen much of that. That is a Lee Collins 1400cc car that runs in 13th position. He's about to be lapped by the leader, who turns his way through Brooklands. He's half a minute ahead of Graham Charman now, so half a lap clear of anybody else. There's Lackford and Chittenden battling over 8th and 9th positions. Genvy comes through Woodcote with pretty much a lap time left. Yes, the last lap board goes out to the leader then, so we head on to the final lap of the race for Mike Genvy, and he's going to catch that battle for 8th and 9th positions between Norman Lackford and Andy Chittenden. There's a struggling Matt Manderson, who won the earlier race. There's Lackford, who's ahead of Chittenden, and they're both about to be lapped by Mike Genvy. You've also got the MP in there of Jay Shepherd, who's been caught by Lee Collar's ADR. So out of Beckett's and passing that 8th place battle with no problem is Mike Genvy. He took 3rd place in the earlier race, and he's going to be the only driver to get 2 podiums out of this, and he's going to win Class B for the 2nd time. He turns his way through Brooklands and into Laffield. Great performance in tricky circumstances. The track is drier, but it's actually harder to deal with, particularly with these wet tyres. They wouldn't have been terribly nice to drive on, I shouldn't think. But it's Mike Genvy then that takes the win. Once again with the BRSCC, takes the checkered flag then after 20 laps of racing in the ZEO Sports Proto Series. Well clear of Graham Charman, the only other driver on the lead lap. Tony Freeman will take 3rd. 4th should go to Alistair Smart, although he started to be caught towards the end. 5th, 6th and 7th are together on this last lap. Richard Hardy, Colin Child and Matt Chamberlain. And I think we're trying to see if we can pick those cars up. So there's Smart in 4th. So the next car through are battling over 5th, 6th and 7th, and they're absolutely together across the line. Just in front of the 2nd place car, Charman. 5th did still go to Richard Hardy, but he, Chris Child and Matt Chamberlain were separated by less than a second at the flag. Norman Lackford took 8th, 9th went to Andy Chittenden, and 10th to Dominic Langdon Down. 11th, Matt Manderson. 12th, Jay Shepherd just held off Lee Collar. So Class A, that went to Tony Freeman. Class B to Mike Genvy. Class C to Alistair Smart, and Class E went to Dominic Langdon Down to complete the opening weekend of racing for the ZEO Prototype Cup. So let's take a look at the highlights of that race. It was a better start for for Duncan Williams in that Norma LMP3 car, but unfortunately for him it didn't last too long. He led from Mike Genvy and Graham Charman in the early stages, but he spun. I think on the exit of Brooklands, also spinning, was Tony Freeman. Freeman fought his way through the order, blasted his way past in that Ford EcoBoost engine Radical. This was a good battle that raced all race long. Andy Chittenden versus Norman Lackford. They were both lapped by the flying Mike Genvy. Everybody bar the 2nd place man was lapped by him, in fact. There he is, lapping the 3rd place car, Tony Freeman, who fought through after a spin. And he turns his way out of Beckett's on this occasion, lapping for a 2nd time those cars. There is the winner then. Mike Genvy, the race winner then of the 2nd round of the ZEO Sports Prototype Series. Further races for these cars come at Brands Hatch in August and Donington Park in September. And Scott Woodwiss is down in the pit lane, and he can have a chat with our race winner, Mike Genvy.
Well, more great stuff from the ZEO Prototype Championship, and I'm very happy you can see Mike Genvy, who has been here before with sports prototypes, and this is like the days of old, isn't it? With you out in front dominating in many cases, but again, a smile on your face at all.
Yeah, I'll cover it up now. Yeah, no, really good. Shame Duncan spun out, because I'm pretty sure we made a lot of changes since race 1. It was drying. I've got very old wets, so they were coming into their own for this race, where it's quite a drying circuit. But we also we had a really bad test day here about a month ago, where it dried in the day, and we knew slicks were not going to work. So yeah, a bit of doubt when Matt went out on slicks, but yeah, no, really pleased, really pleased. Shame we couldn't have the race with Duncan, but yeah, just settled in, just trying to preserve the tyres. I think that's probably the last race I'll do. But yeah, I mainly just want to thank ZEO and everyone working for ZEO today who's been here. It's been yeah, it's been a fantastic first event. Really, really enjoyed it.
And it's nice to have sports prototypes back out with the club and have you back out in the championship, where it's just all the sports prototypes kind of where they belong. It's nice to have that back again, isn't it?
Yeah, and the cars are so quick and they're so nice to drive, and proper aero cars. You know, all the front running ones are definitely full aero. So yeah, it's quite nice. The neck takes a bit of recovery from that, but yeah, really good. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, good stuff. And next time out, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. So we're at Brands beginning of August, so we'll look forward to that.
A great race you had a couple of years ago. It was like 4 of you, 4 different cars, and it was all together. I think it was you, Josh Smith, I think Duncan Williams, and a couple of others. I think it was, can't remember the other car, but you were back and forth there in the Indy circuit. It was one of the best races I'd seen for them for an ages. So hopefully more the same with that.
I hope so. I think Graham Cole won that race. So, but yeah, the 4 of us on the last 3 or 4 laps, absolutely amazing. And that's sports prototypes the best when they're like that. You know, right at the end of the race, everyone's hot on tyres and hot on cars, and yeah, fantastic. So yeah, really grateful for the ZEO to putting this on, and great. Looking forward to the rest of the season.
We'll see you at Brands, mate. Well done.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Right, let's move on to Graham Charman here in second place. Have a quick chat with Graham. How you found that, Graham?
Hello.
Fantastic stuff in second place, and what a car to do it in as well.
Yeah, it was well better than this morning's race anyway. Wrong tyre choice this morning. And this worked better this time. I was in a bit of a race of my own, to be honest. Those guys ran away from me, and I ran away from everybody else, and yeah, it was great. But
this is what they call no man's land.
It was, yeah. It was really good fun when I caught the back markers. Yeah. Gave me something to do.
But it's nice to something to Mike as well. It's nice to have sports prototypes back in the way that it is with ZEO. Nice to have a nice mix of cars. You guys look like you were having massive fun out there.
Absolutely massive fun. This is only the second time I've driven this. Never driven a sports prototype before. Wanted to do it, got in that car, and here we are on the podium, so brilliant.
I guess the next question, silly or not, is Brands Hatch?
Definitely, yeah, and there's some work to do on the car. It'll go quicker, I can go quicker in it, so yeah.
We look forward to it, and look forward to seeing you in the car out there. Well done.
Thank you very much indeed.
Good stuff, well done. And let's see if we can grab Tony as well in third place, just over here having a chat with his family. For a second. I don't know if you've got like a mask or not we can give you, or at all, but either way. Anyway, the third place, I think you'll take that one. Not a bad day's work on that one.
No, I'll take that after the spin at Brooklands. It was, I think, just on cold tyres. I just turned in and the back started to come round. Just couldn't save it, so came back on in last position, bit of red mist, and ended up where we did. So great, car was great. Yeah, brilliant.
And it looks like everyone knows you've had mega fun today, and what a way to start the new series.
It's fantastic. Yeah, it's a good series to be in, and thoroughly enjoying it so far.
Good stuff. And Brands as well?
Yeah, we're at Brands and Donington.
Great.
Looking forward to those. Hopefully better weather.
Yeah. Well, British summer, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. It's England, of course.
That's it. Anyway, well done. Good job. We'll see you next time.